I might have to, I might have to give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just, it will concentrate anything bad as well as anything good.
Oh, yeah. Bobby, did you make it in?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I think I accidentally called your Skype number first.
I didn't want to bust into the conversation.
No, I saw you come in. I wanted to just make sure you were here. So, I've been telling people that we're going to dig into the stuff that Andrew's doing with his club and with some of the BJCP stuff, and then talk flavor profiles. You up for talking flavor profiles, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Cool. So, I guess the best way to get started, because there's a lot of people that listen and that are on our live feed that don't necessarily know you. I didn't know you until Bobby introduced you to me. So, tell us a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just this guy up in Long Island somewhere. I know a guy who knows a guy. Just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into mead.
Yeah, it's so I'm a Mead certified judge. I'm a Grandmaster Beer Judge with the Beer Judge certification program. I think right now there's something like 64, 65 Grandmasters, and I don't know what percentage of those are Mead certified. I'm also a certified Cicerone, and I've passed the tasting portion of the advanced Cicerone exam. But I also run a kind of fermented. I'm a president of the largest kind of fermented enthusiast club on Long Island beer malt enthusiasts. We hold a yearly mead competition. The mead competition is part of the East Coast Mead Maker of the Year, linked with 3 other competitions on the East Coast here, which we're really proud to be a part of. And I run a mead exam for the BJCP. Every year I train mead judges. I run mead exams to get mead judges certified. And, just recently I was appointed associate director for the Beer Judge certification program. So I'll be helping a lot with the newsletter, and I'm looking to try to get some mead judging content in there. Recently I wrote an article about judging mead, interviewing some of the most, probably the most well-known, mead judges in the country, Ken Schramm, Michael Fairbrother, Gordon Strong, Susan Rudd, Stephen Piat. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I wouldn't mind judging with that kind of group.
Yeah, it was very interesting just to kind of talk to each one individually, for about 20, 25 minutes, and just kind of get their different perspectives and different feel on different things. It was it was really super enlightening. It was very interesting.
Very cool. So how many meads did you guys have in your last comp?
We had, I think we had about 65. We usually have around, about 65, maybe 70. We're looking to kind of grow it each year, but there's not really a lot. I do a lot of, as a Grandmaster Judge, I do a lot of judging, around the area, and typically, sometimes meads and ciders, are kind of put together. It's kind of like just like a slap all together. Maybe there's like 3 or 4 meads, and you could be judging, like a sack strength sweet, orange blossom traditional mead against, some kind of, crazy experimental, Brett fermented barrel aged, dry mead, and it just, so sometimes it's all kind of concentrated together like that. So, it's nice having a lot of different, having that many meads. You separate them out in different categories, and you feel like you give them, alike meads against each other,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I love the way the Major Cup is able to kind of say, okay, dry traditional, semi-sweet traditional. I wish we had enough meads to do that, but I think we do a pretty good job with what we have.
Well, I would say I was still with the Mazer when they founded it, but when we set it up, everything was big groups. So it was traditionals, methglins, melomels, and then as it got bigger and bigger and bigger, first we split berry melomels off, then started splitting traditionals up as those started to increase. So it was a gradual thing.
Yeah, I bet. It's a great, it's a great thing though.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the fact that the competition caps out, every year pretty early is fantastic for those guys.
Yeah, it's really doing very well. I'll be interested to see where they cap things this year. Because entries are going to open up in a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, right. The 13th or something like that, January 15th. Yeah.
Yeah, and then have your finger on the keyboard because it takes 7 hours for it to max last year. It was ridiculous. It's worse than standing in line for Rolling Stones tickets, I swear. Or I should say, okay, I'm in the South, so it's worse than getting Jimmy Buffett tickets, okay?
Yeah, and I think that really says something about the hobby. I think that really says something about the growth of the hobby too. You know what I mean? With home, not only the commercial, but with home mead makers and stuff like that. Being able to kind of max out that quickly, that fast. You can see that the hobby's really how much it's just grown and to the point where it's at today.
Yeah, it's really picking up speed, and it's funny because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, hey, we don't have very many meads around here." And it's like, we don't have a lot of meaderies around where I'm at in North Carolina. There's a meadery in Durham and another one out in Carborough. Both of them are at least an hour away, and that's not so far. But we also don't really have any mead groups here. There's a really nice brew club here that I periodically will go to their meetings, but they're really about the beer. There's not a lot of mead makers in it. So we're talking about starting. We're talking about starting a mead-centric group, not mead only. Just mead-centric rather than beer-centric with mead as an add-on.
Sure.
So that's something we're looking to do.
Clubs like that, are really just kind of the best way to grow the hobby and also to grow the industry. It's like, my club, we're kind of like in that boat where more beer centric, but, me being president and really being interested in mead, have really pushed the mead angle. So, more members are becoming more and more interested in it. But, my club alone in my area, I think we're responsible for, I don't know the exact number, but it might be up to like 10 or 11 breweries that have started through our members. No
amazing.
Commercial meaderies yet, but that's kind of the stepping stone. So, you get people you get people who want to get involved in the hobby and start getting kind of a knack and a flair for it, and then they kind of branch off. I'm hoping that's what happens here on Long Island. In New York, because I did some research on this, in New York, the laws don't really distinguish between wine and mead. And I live on the east end of Long Island, and I have 42 wineries within like a 20-mile radius of me. It's a lot of wineries, and any single one of them at any point could start doing mead, and could start producing it on a large quantity, and they don't yet. We're looking to, it'd be great to see that change, because it's not like you said, there's not really a lot of mead makers, but it could, within a couple of years, it could change dramatically if some of the wineries on the east end of Long Island started producing mead. In their facilities.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of wineries that are jumping on that and making a mead or two. And some mead drinkers kind of, they look at it and go, oh, well, they're not a real meadery. But I think, well, you know what? I don't care. If they're making mead, that's one more mead being made, and that is a good thing. There is no downside there, unless it's a horrible mead, in which case there is a downside. But... I see it as every mead is one step closer to the goal, taking over the world.
You said the quiet part out loud again.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're still at a point where, we do a lot of competitions, a lot of beer festivals around our area. And, we're still at a point where I have to explain to people what mead is, if we're at that point, to still even explaining to consumers what it is, in my area, we still got some growth to do, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of people there though, so there's a lot of opportunity. So,
Yeah, the 8 million people on the, around 8 million people on the island. So there's, it's a huge market, and so hopefully that changes. And the way it changes is through education. The way it changes is through training people, and it splinters off very, very fast. I've been very active in the Beer Judge certification program in the area here, and I've seen it beginning to start splinter off into people who really training other judges. Now I see people who I train. And someone who I trained and then was trained by by that same person now holding their own classes. So it's like 3 people removed, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, that is really cool. So, how'd you get into mead? Did you just trip over it doing beer, or was it something else?
Yeah, basically. I mean, almost literally. I had a friend. I was, a good friend of mine, who I was helping move. He was moving from Long Island to Portland, and he's like, well, they won't take any kind of like perishable, food stuff or any kind of food stuff whatsoever on the moving truck for some reason. I'm like, all right, whatever. And he's like, here you go. And he gave me like 40 pounds of like orange blossom honey. I was like, oh, all right. Well, I guess I should do something with this. And so I made a couple of orange blossom traditional meads, and I really liked it a lot. And, and it was more, not only just like the product, like, the mead came out pretty good, but it was more the process I really liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different than beer. It's, I like cooking, and it's very kind of similar to that. It's at this point, it's very palate based. You know what I mean? I'm trying the mead as I'm going along. Do I need to add more fruit, right? Do I, is everything where I want it, and then afterwards when the mead is done, like unlike a beer, like, I'm not trying to down talk beer, but it's just a fact. Like, when a beer is done fermenting, for the most part, there's not really a whole lot you're going to be doing with that beer, from a traditional standpoint. But, with a mead, there's so much you can be doing with it. And I love that, like, well, maybe I should add, break this batch into different, into different batches, and, let me try it with these kind of spices, or maybe I want to back sweeten it to, a higher gravity, or maybe I want to blend these different meads. And it's a lot of fun. There's been, afternoons where me and a couple of, my friends and my wife will sit here and we'll try different combinations to try to figure out what works best. And I love that part of the process. It's just a lot of fun. I like something that's more palate based like that.
One of my favorite things is that we have no rules. We're literally the Wild West of booze. And, we can do anything we want, and it fits within our parameters, because anything that doesn't fit into one of the predetermined categories goes into experimental. So there you go.
Yeah.
Like seaweed.
Like seaweed, yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby is going to be ever known as the father of the seaweed mead from now until mead eternity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's even become legend around.
I know, right?
Down
1,000 years from now, somebody's going to unearth a bottle from Bobby's basement, buried in some ancient lava flow or something, and they're going to go.
Oh, stop!
They're going to go seaweed mead. Oh, that was the legendary Bob Slanzi. And then people will be getting their ancestry kits, going, "I'm related to him."
And you know what? Before it was the ghost pepper mead.
Like it could be like the Dead Sea Scrolls of mead.
Oh, poor Bob. I'm never going to get a drink of it now. I'm picking on him.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah. I have to go to sleep in his house when I'm up there for the fermentation fest.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll just put the dog on my chest and let her drool on me for a while.
Yeah, well, I'll be there with my club as well. So.
Your dog doesn't what?
My dog doesn't stay in anybody's bed but mine.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to hear that you're going to the fermentation festival.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I guess I'm on a panel, and I'm not sure if we're doing a Ferment About It show or not. I think that's something that they're considering. So, yeah, I'll be there.
Great.
Yeah, Bobby has kindly offered to let me crash at his new place, which I'm thrilled. Since I missed the housewarming, I'm looking forward to seeing the house and meeting the dog.
Yeah, I'll have to count my bottles before Vicky leaves. Make sure to take them.
Do inventory.
Yeah. What was that, Andrew?
No, I was going to say it's a really great event. Chris Kuzme and Mary Zed are really awesome people. So definitely anybody in the lower New York region and eastern New Jersey and lower Connecticut should definitely check it out. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Bobby, we got to get some info together on that so I can start talking about it on the show.
Maybe I'm waiting to get it from them.
Yeah.
I put out the feelers for them. I'm waiting for them, and I think there's going to be a couple meetings there. I think Sergio's going to be there. I think Enlightenment Wines is going to be there. I think Misto's going to be there. I think 810 Meadworks is going to be there. I'm pretty sure Royal's going to be there.
Cool.
And I think we're waiting on a couple other people because they gave me a little carte blanche to get as many meaderies as I can.
Nice.
So it's going to be definitely mead-heavy presence. I think Andrew's club is going to be there. Right, Andrew, your club's going to be there with a tap board?
Yeah, my club will be there, and I'll have I'll have at least one of my meads on tap there, and maybe hopefully try to get some other people as well.